Anthem is almost here. They just dropped the cool launch trailer that you see right here, looking pretty sweet. On February 15th, of course, the servers will open for Origin Access people on the PC. If you got EA Access on Xbox, then you can also play the full game for 10 hours there. But of course, the launch is just the beginning for these types of online games, and they detailed the free content that we can expect after launch and answered many questions in a recent AMA that I also wanted to discuss in this video. So let's get into it. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated. And let's go. So all the Anthem DLC will of course be free, and we can now take a look at the roadmap starting in March with the Echoes of Reality, and then we see 2 more acts planned for after that, and of course more to come when all the 3 acts are live. So it says March 2019, implying that the whole act is coming out in March, and that seems to be the case since on Twitter we got Mark Dara, the executive producer over at BioWare, saying that how long an act is going to last is mentioned in the roadmap. And unless I'm missing something, we see only March 2019 with Act 1, and then in the other slide it says starting March 2019, so that's why I thought maybe it might take longer for the full act to be completed, but there's no indication of that. So I would think that we get the whole Act 1 in March, and that would actually be pretty huge. Namely 3 big updates. One is called Evolving the World, likely referring to the things that will change in the free play mode, so the free roam option that will let you like explore the world. And yes, that world is way larger than that we got to explore in the demo. During my trip to London, where I could play the game early, I could explore the whole map, and that was from the beginning of the game. And you also got these dungeons where you can go inside and kill some enemies and then at the end get a reward. And those dungeons seem to open up as you play through the main missions. So you first enter these locations in the main missions, and then you can go inside during the free play. But there will also of course be world events while you fly through the world, like big bosses and many other objectives that you have to clear, and more of them seem to be coming in March as well. And I think that that is part of the big Evolving World update, right? It makes the most sense. Then we got the Stronger Together update, implying that that will bring a new group activity to the game, and it could be referring to the new Strongholds that should be coming as part of this act as well. And that is huge, because these 4-player group activities that we of course saw in the demo as well are by far the most fun and varied activities in Anthem, with of course the awesome boss at the end. So I think the Stronger Together update likely implies that that is when we will see the new Strongholds, and it might be linked to some other features that BioWare plans to add post-launch as well. More on that a little later. Going back to the Strongholds, because we might see unique drops for the Strongholds in the future. Ben, the lead producer, noted that on Twitter. Because right now the loot across all these Strongholds and actually all the activities in the game are the same, while it would be cooler if you could get some specific items per activity. So that, for example, from this spider boss you get some really cool Venom gear and components and stuff like that that really help with a Venom build. Update 3 will be called Cataclysm, and we already got a taste of that of course in the demo. I actually played a lot during that time as well, but not a lot happened. Suddenly more titans spawned. I battled one of those ancient ash titans, a really big one with some crazy attacks, but me and other people in that free play section were able to take it down, and I got a lot of blue drops during that encounter. But apart from that and a really cool backdrop, that was kind of it. But BioWare promises that that is just a tease, and that there will be way more to these storms than we saw in the demo. Ben notes that this will be the aspirational, meaningful, challenging content that requires high levels of coordination and a place to earn the best rewards in the game. With more on that later. This should be Anthem's answer to raids from other comparable games like Destiny. But good to note is that while some content will be in the game always, like after it gets released, the cataclysms are timed events that may come back later. So it seems like we get our first taste at those high-end cataclysms with the third update, likely in late March. Again, that is what I think looking at this roadmap, but could be later. So yes, enough time to gear up for these high-end challenges, and it seems like they will be for 4 players because these cataclysms take place in the free play. But yeah, more on those cataclysms at a later date. And that is not all. Quality of life improvements are also slated to happen. Like text chat is not on PC at launch, but will likely come later. New UI improvements for after the expedition, that you see more stats, seems to be planned after launch as well. So that you see who took the most damage, who did the most damage. That can really help with perfecting your build for sure. and that after you die that you can spectate a team member instead of like not being able to move. Good to know that BioWare is looking into this. They also note new rewards are coming in Act 1, so likely new gear, weapons and components. I would not be surprised if they are linked to these cataclysms, as they should give you the top rewards. And having unique rewards for these events makes a ton of sense of course as well. In the AMA they also note that we might see weapons beyond the legendary rarity at some point, although I don't think that it will be part of Act 1, likely way later after launch. Weapons with elemental damage might also be something we will see post-launch, that then cannot cause like combos, as the gear can of course now, with mixing your primes and your detonators to cause an effect based on the javelin you are using, and it just does a lot of damage to the enemies as well. Like my Venom Bomb melee combo with the interceptor was really brutal. They're also looking into different ultimates. Right now, of course, every javelin has one attack that you can do after your bar is full, but having more of them will really add another layer of depth to the builds. And right now, if you are, for example, a Colossus that focuses on defense, you still have a offensive ability. So hopefully they make it so that you have like a full defensive ultimate as well. Again, likely not in Act 1, but something we might see after launch. Other new rewards that they could add, and maybe this will be added in Act 1, are titles, a common thing that you see in those games to show off your achievements. That if you, for example, cleared a cataclysm, that you get the Storm Stopper title, so that other people can see, oh, this guy is pretty sick because he stopped that cataclysm. Sponsorships for special vinyl and maybe even skins seem also be coming as well. Chad Robertson, the head of live services at BioWare, responded to someone saying, is there a potential for sponsorship event vinyls? Something like an energy drink branded vinyl. So a Red Bull Javelin or something like that. I mean, I do see like crossovers with previous BioWare games totally happen. We already saw the N7 Javelin of course. But yeah, his stay tuned answer implies to me that there is something like this coming. And that could really go both ways in my opinion. We can expect an expanded progression system during the first act as well, so more ways to customize your playstyle and to work towards while playing. Maybe you can use the XP that you get at the max level, because of course if you are the max level, why would you need XP? Well, now it goes into the alliance system and then you earn rewards for playing with other people, but even if you are like not playing with them, they still earn XP and you will get a reward. So that is pretty nice, but if you are not that invested in the alliance system, then the XP on the max level will not be as valuable. So maybe an improvement for that is on the way with this expanded progression system. We already discussed the new Stronghold, so that is huge that they add that post-launch. And that is also pretty needed, because free at launch does not feel like enough, as I noted in my previous endgame video as well. Guilds and leaderboards will also be added post-launch, so we already got the mentioned alliance system, but this will be more focused on forming organized groups with people to, for example, tackle these high-end cataclysms. They will be time limited, so you need to have a way to form a team that can be ready for when those events happen. They want to release this feature as soon as possible after launch, so that is good to know. I think it makes sense if they add that with the Stronger Together update as well. New missions are also noted, so like what we saw with Matthias in the demo, some more story-driven content with existing but hopefully also new characters. We of course know that romance is not part of the game at launch, but Mark says that nothing is stopping us from doing it in the future if people want it. So it could be something we see in the far future as well, as I would imagine that it takes a lot of time to develop. Just like new javelins, Chad, the head of live services, noted that that is something they totally want to do, but again, don't expect that anytime soon. Anthem should receive content for years to come if everything of course goes well. EA expects the title to sell 5 to 6 million copies before April, and I think that's totally possible. I mean, as you know, I really enjoy playing this game, and many other people seem to agree after the demo. And yeah, the demo of course did not come without its problems, especially the first weekend, but the second weekend was way better. But BioWare already notes that a lot of the things will be worked on and improved at launch. Like the load times should be improved at launch, the sprint speed in Fort Tarsus is increased. Like in the demo, when you were like dropping inside the middle of the city and then had to run to your forge, that was a pain, it took way too long. Well, luckily, we can run faster now. And movement, responsiveness and camera improvements are also happening on February 22nd, because that is the thing. Some things will be improved and added on February 15th, so with the early access. But the real big update with most of the improvements and fixes will take place on February 22nd, when the game is of course available for everyone. So yes, really soon we will be able to create our own javelin and not have our progress wiped. Of course, everything you did in the demo will be wiped and we'll start fresh in the main game and start from the beginning. I really feel that the tutorial in this game is really well done. Played it multiple times now at events. I don't think there's any footage of it online, but it really does a great job of giving you a taste of what this game has to offer. And I can't wait to see how the main story will be, because I think it could be cool. But of course, we remain skeptical because we haven't seen a lot of it yet. I think overall the post-launch looks really cool, if indeed everything is coming out in March 2019. But again, that is kind of vague at the moment. But if they really can launch a new Strongholds, the Cataclysms, and all these quality of life improvements in March, that would be really nice, and also I feel needed. And you already know why if you watched my endgame video. If you haven't already, you can watch it by clicking on the screen. Of course, subscribe for way more Anthem coverage here on the channel. We'll do a ton of tips and tricks when the game is out. Like the video to support the channel, and I will of course speak to you next time. Goodbye!